What's good, y'all? Bob King back again, and today I have a special video for y'all. Y'all are getting 2 uploads today, so I hope y'all enjoy that. But I'm gonna be commentating live. As you can see, I still have not unlocked competitive yet, but that's okay. But anyways, I wanted to talk about the different types of bosses in the workplace. I'm looking for a job, as y'all know right now, so what better time to look for a job than right now? So let's get into this. If y'all want to see a part 2, let me know. If I don't go over all the types of bosses, so maybe I'll make a part 2. But let me know in the comments. You know what, if we get... This is never gonna happen, but if we can get 50 likes on this video, I will make a part 2. Anyways, the first type of boss I want to go over is the self-centered boss. This boss right here is egotistical. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They're kind of like Mr. Krabs in a way, but instead of just money, they only care about themselves. I'll go over like a Mr. Krabs archetype soon, but as of now, this is the selfish boss. So the selfish boss, they don't care about nobody but themselves. As the name suggests, they're selfish, no pun intended, as we're talking about Mr. Krabs. But instead of only being oriented around the money, they're only oriented around themselves. The next type of boss is the pushover. So this boss right here, you can get away with whatever. Like I had a buddy at my very first job. He didn't even work. So what he would do, so I worked at a steakhouse. It was it's called Outback Steakhouse. Maybe you've heard of it. So my friend, he went to my high school and everything. We had classes together, but we both were bussers at this steakhouse. But I was there more often because my friend, let's just call him Sam. My friend Sam was at work less than me because he was on the football team, and I was there more often. So I was getting some of Sam's work, which didn't really bother me because it was a pretty small front of house restaurant. And, so Sam, he was always at football practice, but he would be there like twice a week, like 2 days out of the entire week. So I was there. But of the times that Sam was there, sorry, I was reading what they were saying. Of the times that Sam was there, he was saying like, oh, well, pretty much what he was doing was, because since he knew the boss, he was like, his dad was friends with the boss, like the manager, like the owner of the restaurant. So Sam, when he would come in to work, he wouldn't do anything. But I didn't really blame him because he had football practice and all that. So, you get aches when you're at practice. So I understand. And, at the school I went to before, I was on the track and field team. So I understood. We were actually kind of friends. Sam and I, we were kind of friends. But yeah, he was on the football team and I was just there. But what Sam was doing was he basically wasn't even working. He was just in the back and he was still getting paid, which wasn't fair to me. But I didn't really care because it wasn't that serious. It was like my first job ever, it wasn't that serious. But yeah, Sam was basically getting paid for doing nothing. And it wasn't just Sam, it was a lot of other people too. Like this boss, he was a pushover. He wouldn't really like step up to the plate or like tell you like you're not, like he wouldn't enforce anything like a boss is supposed to. Think of like the opposite of Benson from Regular Show. He was like the opposite of him. But yeah, that's the pushover. The next boss I want to talk about is the opposite of the pushover. The boss who's way too strict. I don't really have a name for them, but this is like the boss who's too strict for no reason. So like, they'll be on you all the time. You'd be sitting down after just taking a quick little break, but no, they'll just be on your ass for no reason. And it makes no sense. Like nobody wants to have that boss. Like they're on you all the time. They're always looking for you, or they're just like, they just come up with something to say to you for no reason. Even though you're doing your work, even though you're good, there might not even be any work to do at all, but they'll still try to find something for you to do. Like they just can't take a chill pill. Nobody wants that boss. That boss is the worst. The next boss we have is the boss who won't shut the fuck up. It kind of goes hand in hand with the boss who's selfish. They only care about, whatever they have to say. But it's a little bit different. This is the boss who will never stop talking about advice. They try to be like a parental figure, like a father figure or a mother figure. They think that what they have to say is always correct. Maybe I should change the name, not like the boss who would never shut the fuck up, but more like the boss who thinks that they're always right. Nobody likes working for those people because half the time, well, more than half the time, like 8 out of 10 times, they don't know what they're talking about, but they just put on a whole facade to act like they know what they're talking about. And they say it's my way or the highway type of boss. Nobody wants that boss. That boss is the worst. And if you ever become a boss or anything, do not become like them, because I promise you, nobody's gonna listen to you. They might say that, what you're saying is right or whatever, but they're just saying that to get you to stop talking, because, you never shut the fuck up and you think that you're right all the time. The next boss I want to talk about is the boss that everybody loves. And I mean, like, this is like the boss that they come into work and they change everybody's outlook on not even just their day, but like life. They say that the boss is the person that either makes or breaks your entire working experience. Well, that is partly true. If you have a boss who really knows their shit, but they also are lenient, but not too lenient, but they still, they pretty much excel at every category that a boss should excel at. And they also are positive and have a solid outlook on the entire job. Even when things don't go their way, they don't blame people too hard. They're not too harsh on people, and they listen, they listen to other people's suggestions, making it like a democracy at work. Everybody loves that kind of boss. If you ever become a boss, you definitely should become one of those. I give that boss a solid 8 out of 10, because sometimes it's kind of annoying because they're always positive, so you can never tell if they're actually trying to take advantage of you, or if they're just there could kind of be something wrong with them. You never really know, but they're usually solid, and their outlook is really good. So, and like I said, they usually excel at all of the different aspects of their job. The next boss that I want to talk about is the boss that's misunderstood. These are the bosses that usually have something really deep going on a conceptual level at home, or they're, they on the surface they look like assholes, but really they're actually a really good boss if you actually get to know them. Think of Benson from Regular Show. These are the bosses that actually, you kind of want to be friends with, because they're misunderstood. But yeah, not really much to say about them. I give this boss a solid 9 out of 10. The next boss that I want to talk about is the boss who doesn't care about anybody. This kind of goes hand in hand with the boss who's selfish. But I mean, this boss doesn't give a fuck about anything at all at work. They don't give a fuck about anyone. They don't give a fuck about the job. They don't want to be there. They're the opposite of the boss that has a positive outlook. They do not want to be there. They drag the whole experience down for everybody. They don't give a fuck about no one or nothing. And okay. But yeah, that's the boss. I have an example actually. I had a boss. Actually at the same place, and well, we had 4 general managers, but one of them, he didn't give a fuck about nothing. Like, you could tell him that the floor is slippery all throughout the restaurant. Like everything that's fucked up that could happen is going on. You could tell him that someone's about to sue because they found hair in the food. You could tell them that the restaurant needs to shut down because somebody discovered E. coli in the meat. They still wouldn't care, Like, they wouldn't care about nothing. They would just brush it off like it's no big deal. Like, the health department could be there telling them that they're about to shut down. He wouldn't even bat an eye. So one day I was working, and I dropped a glass on the ground when I was busting a table. My clumsy ass. I'm a klutz. I'd admit I'm a klutz. So I dropped a glass on the ground, and he was right behind me. He didn't even care. He didn't react. Nothing. He didn't react or anything. He didn't care. Nothing. It was ridiculous. That's the story. I mean, it's not really much of a story. I mean, it's pretty underwhelming if you really think about it. It's kind of like that episode of Batman where, like, the dude was like, so there I was, and Batman was closing in on me, and then they're like, and then he's like, I threw a rock at him.
But I guess you'll always come in second. Anyone else want to go?
Me! There I was, holed up in this quarry. When Batman came nosing around, he was getting closer.
And?
I threw a rock at him.
That's basically the equivalent of that story that I just told y'all. Like, nothing happened, But yeah. Oh, okay. But that is types of bosses, pretty much in a nutshell. I'm pretty sure I went over all of them, but let me know if I did or if I didn't. That's pretty much it. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, whatever, share, do whatever you need to. And as always, I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.